Good afternoon. Before I begin, I wish to say thank you to the Center for Mobility's research for having me here, as well as you, my dear audience, for being here this afternoon. It is said that one should always begin a speech with an apology or a joke. I would like to begin mine with an apology, although you may think of me as a bit of a joke. For to be honest, I do feel like an imposter here because I'm very sorry to disappoint, but as you can probably already tell, I'm not a sociologist. Instead, I'm an artist. And my name is Kai Sing Tan, or simply Kai for those in a hurry. My mission here today is to introduce to researchers of mobility a character who's very mobile, called Kaidie. Now, Kaidie is based in a city called London, but she runs everywhere in search of what she cryptically describes as a or the meaning of life. In fact, that is the sole purpose of her existence when she was created 900 days ago. You see, Kaidie's life runs only for 1,000 days, and regardless of her success or failure, she must die on the last day of the London Olympics on the 9th of September 2012. I hope you appreciate that the dates are a bit of a palindrome, well, sort of. Now, such a quixotic quest demands nothing short of a playful approach. Kaidie is also literally all over the place, documenting her hits and misses, mostly misses, of her life mission through image, music, and text. Let us hear it from the horse's Kaidie's mouth. Let's have a look at one of the moving images she has uploaded. Give me a second, let me just go online. And here we go. Run down when stuck in a quiet room. Run to undertake journeys of the mind and body. Alienated from the spectacle of the city. Run to take ownership of your environment. Keen to outwit CCTV cameras shadowing your moves. Stop walking and run to register as a blur. Fed up with the political status quo in a claustrophobic regime, follow Colin's footsteps to run against the authorities and not let the bastards run us down. Run to stir the still air. Do not let things come to a standstill or to sit back or take things lying down. Get mobilized. Move. Start a movement. Act. Be active. Take action. Fight back by running. Running, the body forms a direct correlation with the city and state, bringing to life the mantra of body as world, world as body, that the ancient Chinese way of life of Taoism teaches, but without the exotica of cultivation techniques such as Tai Chi, which is too esoteric, even for Kaidie. More than a sit-in or a walkout, running can be a demonstration or performance of one's ideals without running afoul of any law, although arguably with more torn ligaments, heaving and panting, but without getting arrested in countries which defines the assembly of 5 or more people as unlawful, or where caning greets the graffiti sprayer, or where parkour hurts. Anywhere, really. With the running boom and marathons happening daily all over the world, imagine the spectacle and riot runners are capable of cooking up, a la Critical Mass. Traffic stopping, eye-catching, critical but celebratory, with the slogan, "Run to run your world." Paralyzed, poorly, or imprisoned, you can still run, virtually, by letting your imagination run wild, like Don Quixote. With one foot on the ground and the other in cloud cuckoo land, build castles in the air, like Cervantes and William Gibson. Run online, too, from window to window, since reality is just one more window. Cultivate a second life, or 9 lives or more. Make them ask, who am we? Be on the run, so that neither the digital big brothers nor big bosses could track you down. Remain at a critical distance and not get sucked into the consensual hallucination of cyberspace. Today, running is ever more urgent, where the internet is mobile, portable, pervasive, and omnipresent, with the online world spilling over to the offline. Emancipated from the desk and room, we now have the whole virtual world on our hands with our smart gadgets. As digital nomads, we reconnect with the digits of our feet, with the ones and zeros of the cloudy computing realities. In more ways than one, the runner can give this smart gadget a run for its money, roaming our brave new world the way the anarchic Taoist sages would have. Being physically compact, a runner is as light and mobile. Moreover, attuned to a body that is already equipped with a kind of intelligence, the runner is also just as smart, if not smarter. walking fails to bring one metaphorically up to speed. It is the runner who can parody the gait and intensity of the ever-raging technological revolution. We can also advance with tremendous stamina, that is, speed and endurance, equipped also with a resilience found only in the long-distance runner. Greedy as we are, apart from running within the various worlds, we run to and fro them as well, appropriating the concept of the chaosmos from Taoism, in which two binary opposites collide and become 3 instead of 1.5. We propose that when we run back and forth dimensions, physical, virtual, and digital, we are running in their chaosmos and can exploit and enjoy the best of both worlds. No excuses, you can run. Virtually anyone can run anytime, anywhere. After all, evolution has designed our bodies for running. The body is a running machine equipped with parts that have no use for walking whatsoever. Running has ensured the survival of human beings in the form of endurance hunting, in which we hunt for food by running after animals and running them down 2 million years ago. As Bruce Chatwin argues in his appropriately titled Anatomy of Restlessness, evolution intended us to be travelers. Indeed, numerous wise people have attested that it was when human beings stopped moving, settled down, began building rooms, and subsequently cities and states, that explains the illnesses of our minds and bodies, as well as our societies. With the whole world under our feet, haven't we got our hands full? Before I run out of breath, sorry, I've got to run. To not only talk the talk, but to walk, or rather run the talk. Catch you later. Oh, running off like that was a little rude, was it not? Hopefully we could run into Kaidie again later. Moving on. Clearly, Kaidie's exercise involves not only running in the literal sense, but the figurative sense as well. As a runner, Kaidie is not just an action figure or a figure of action, but a figure of speech also. In fact, she could well be a cartoon illustration of the Chinese word Dao, which refers not only to path or course, but doctrine and discourse, composed as it is with the radicals of the head and feet, hence correlating speech with action and, by extrapolation, body with mind, the physical with the metaphorical. And, as you can see, a sense of playfulness and exuberance is at the heart of Kaidie's project. This is Kaidie shadowing her forerunner Lao Tzu, the Chinese philosopher frequently credited as the founder of Taoism, who 2,500 years ago said, like a child that has not yet learned to smile, "My mind is that of a fool, ignorant and stupid." And look at him, this is the old master, with a chin full of beard, likening himself to a child. The ludic quality of the hypothesis is also informed by the runner's high, which is a sense of euphoria caused by the creation of endorphin in the runner's brain from the process of running. Studies have even found that the runner's high can be conducive to creativity. For instance, the great mathematician Alan Turing was said to have conceptualized the computer in the middle of a run. Runners perspire to earn a high, much unlike the situationists, the two Chowsers, as well as other walkers who had to rely on wine, hashish, opium, and other man-made chemicals to walk on the wild side. Even without men in white coats telling us about happiness, you, my dear audience, must recall the feeling of pure joy from running about as a toddler. Was it not those awful, boring parents, teachers, and governments who reprimanded walk, don't run, that we lost touch with running? It must also be obvious to the audience that the way Kaidie's running has been formulated has itself been rather restless, as it scampers back and forth between various disciplines and cultures, mapping east with west, high-tech and no-tech, the popular like the running boom, with the obscure like Taoism, and so on. This moving, restless mode of thinking conforms to the order of correlative thinking. While rational thinking functions on logical deduction, cause and effect, and is hence temporal. Correlative thinking is said to be a spatial, non-linear mode of thinking, juxtaposing or mapping together not only like with like, but like with unlike via analogy and metaphor, as evident in the pictogram of the Tao. This explains why Heidegger refers to Lao Tzu's ways as poetic thinking. Indeed, this was also perhaps why Lao Tzu maintained a position of restlessness, as if I have no home to return to, and correlated nimbleness and imperfection with life, and stillness with death. With this, an uncanny parallel between the words of Lao Tzu and Pascal can be drawn. As the 17th century French philosopher states, our nature consists in motion, complete rest is death. Then there was Aristotle's peripatetic school, thus named due to the covered walk in the garden where he strolled while transmitting his discourses. Here he's seen with Plato, who obviously has the same taste in fashion and haircut as Lao Tzu, while, as they say, great minds think alike. Clearly, while said to be an important mode of thinking, for the ancient Chinese and Taoists, correlative thinking can be said to transcend cultures and times, as Heidegger has pointed out. As a restless order concerned with process, correlativity also explains why the Taoists view reality not as a singular absolute or fixed entity, but a plurality of 10,000 things. More on that later. While Lao Tzu, Pascal, and the Greeks did not run, a proposal can be ventured here, that the specific locomotion of correlative thinking is running. This time, it is the Latin etymology of the word discourse that we run to and run with. Discursus refers to a running from one place to another. But why running and not walking or crawling for that matter? Further academic speculation can be attempted. Professional runners were said to have been employed as messengers throughout Europe from the 15th to the 18th century. Now, those were the days before modern transportation had become common, and this was around the same period in which the word discourse came about. That runners functioned as a source of message, linking one place or one person to another, an idea or argument to another, may account for why discourse originates from a running from one place to another. This in turn leads one to recall that the root words of the metaphor are related to the notions of carrying, transferring, and between. With these disparate lines of argument, it can be proposed that the way correlativity functions as it maps, networks, and transfers one idea to another from one person or place to another is akin to running in the figurative sense. Now, if that's the case, the subject matter of this hypothesis, running, and its methodology, which has been likened to a form of running, are the same. Running as a methodology has not come from nowhere. Before Kaidie was Kaidie, she had been metaphorically running all her life in various incarnations. As Sisyphus, a perpetual rider of the Circle Line, currently running at a subway station at the Arts and Heritage District of Singapore. Sisyphus is, of course, a cousin of Sisyphus. As a slaughtered tour guide in a video tour guiding or misguiding tourists, and hence she was slaughtered, in the shopping district of Singapore. As a geopolitical tourist, island hopping the archipelago of Japan for 3 years with her video camera, deliberately collapsing conflicting narratives together, such as those of the Pacific War. Remapping these sights and sounds in space and time in the form of installation, film, and so on, new islands and archipelagos of relationships can be imagined. As a drifter afloat in Singapore after years of absence, with a series of 10 videos with a run time of 3 minutes each, which was the time she took to swim each of the 10 times 100 meter laps daily, while contemplating the everyday, rather unreal reality of Singapore. As a wide-eyed Londoner exploring the wild, wild west, for instance, editing 3 films with distinct style and content, but using the same pool of images of the very exotic street protests and public gatherings of London. Even then, London had already felt small, and hence she began to venture online with a large-scale hypertext work. This was 1997, which were the early days of the internet, as you can tell from the aesthetics. A multitude of hyperlinks connecting subjects in a causal way, but mostly absurdly, enabling the audience to click endlessly and hence travel virtually, restlessly. And as a daydreamer, with an array of paintings, cartoons, and sculptures that dreamt of a way to run away from the tiny island called home. Unable to run away from it all, and those were the pre-internet days, the unhappy child could only make journeys of her mind, and translated that into works of art and music. It was when she reached 19 that she was finally able to leave the island that launched her life of being on the run. So, here we are. Runners, of course, do not jump into conclusions. Let us instead run through some of the main points of Kaidie's ecstatic excursion thus far. Running can be a visceral celebration and counter-strike for our internet-expanded lives. The art of running, nourished by the ancient way of life Taoism, is reconfigured for our technology-saturated reality, allowing us to reimagine our current conditions, making us not only masters of the digital but our entire universe. Running, a line, a fiber optic cable, a meridian, a Tao, a course, a discourse can be formed, hyperlinking one's body with the city, the state, technology, as well as one's mind. Running, one draws networks between offline with on, actual with virtual, life with art, speech with action, poetry with thinking, course with discourse, practice with theory. In the process, diverse disciplines are correlated to produce yet new pathways that people of different disciplines, such as sociologists, can pick up. In this way, Kaidie is a runner messenger, translating and transferring the baton, the message and metaphor of running to others, so that 10,000 more messages, courses, and discourses can open up. Running can not only be a playful, but philosophical, poetic, political, personal, fantastical, pragmatic, pungent, and profitable exercise. So, come run with Kaidie. Run to run, that is, to navigate, negotiate, govern, and transform our mad and marvelous world today. Run and generate your own course and discourse. Run your world, your way. Run your own lives. Run for your lives. Let us call Kaidie's mode of being trans running. Not because it's related to transsexualism, the trans dance culture, or trans fact, but because it is transdimensional, transformative, transfigurative, and transgressive, concerned with translation, transposition, transmission, transference, being about transit, as well as being transitional and transitory, and perhaps capable of being transcultural and transdisciplinary. Now, all that is rather grand, but as we round up today's presentation, the very basic question with regards to Kaidie's quest for a or the meaning of life remains unresolved. Today is 100 days before Kaidie's expiry, give or take a couple of days. While longer than the time frame the Monty Pythons had for their quest, time is clearly running out for Kaidie, which could explain why she ran off in such a hurry earlier on, and that she couldn't be with us here today. Had she run here to Lancaster from London and back, it would have shaved off 3 days from her time left. Since we are academics here, let us indulge in some academic speculation on how she will live her last days. Could our Kaidie be like Lola of Run Lola Run, who runs to transform her fate and, at the risk of sounding too hippie-ish, even transcend her death? I foresee 5 scenarios. Kaidie has been appointed London ambassador. Kaidie will be stationed at the King's Cross station, smiling and helping visitors. But while on duty, will she, like Harry Potter, use the train tracks as a portal to run away to a better place? Alternatively, Kaidie could die way down under, specifically in Perth, in Australia. She has been invited to participate in a group show which opens 1 day before her last day on Earth. That may well be her final chance to appeal for help, to seek the meaning of life, or, for all we know, she might have given up by then. All that said, one notes that Perth is 8 hours ahead of London. So even if Kaidie dies in Perth, she would still technically have time in London. While effectively she could die several times throughout the 9th of September through a range of time zones all over the world. If she goes down this route, she will be condemned to a life of dying, like Sisyphus, really. The third scenario takes place in a gallery in Piccadilly Circus in London. Kaidie will be in a photographic show that responds to the 2012 Olympics as Singapore representative, although that is as meaningful as being world famous in New Zealand. Kaidie will be sharing a new work of Kaidie on the cusp of reaching the finishing line. Is she going out on a limb here, or will the meaning of life fall right onto her laps? Alternatively, she may die in the middle of a race by being shot to death by a photographer. Yet, for all we know, Kaidie may well die an extraordinarily ordinary death by simply getting run over by a scolder while out on a run. In any case, should you, my esteemed audience, have any clue, hint, suggestion whatsoever about how Kaidie could or should die, or how she could find the meaning of life or not, please do contact her. We do worry if she's losing track of her mission and vision, getting sidetracked, being wayward and losing her way, and so on. So, hurry. Thank you and goodbye.